Don't worry. The tokens deck apparently is just excited to activate the door. It's an unlock. That worked the way I think it does. We're gonna find out. Yeah, it does. Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we have quite the list. It's my first deck list in terms of the new set that I'm getting to play. I haven't personally looked at it all too much, so my friend sent this over. They play best of 3, so they sent me this list and said here's a really cool Boros list that I've been kind of tinkering with or saw. I don't know exactly where they saw it or if they made it themselves. And they were like, plays a ton of new cards. Let's go check it out. And real quick, we'll read over the new cards and try to hop right into the game so we can get right into the action. We have Norin. I'll be honest, this card did not come up today. I'm just being honest. But this says, can't block whenever a creature you control becomes blocked. You may exile it. You may play that card from exile this turn. So it basically helps keep our creatures around. If, for example, if our opponent plays like a Glissa is going to be a very dominant card against us, but if we have this, we can exile that card and then replay it, and Glissa doesn't get to kill our creatures for free. And if we have cards with really unique and good ETBs, like this doll, or like Toby, which we'll talk about in a second, it works out really, really well. Other than that, we have the Veteran Survivor, a very good card right now, especially in these white builds, as there's so much Reanimator running around, at least that I've seen so far. But at the beginning of your second main phase, if it is tapped, exile up to one target card from a graveyard. As long as there are 3 or more cards exiled with this, it gets a 3/3 and hexproof. I didn't realize it even got hexproof. But the main thing we're here for is playing a 1-mana 2/1 that gets a lot of value in terms of exiling cards out of people's graveyards, and also triggers twice with the Delney that we're playing in this deck. Very good, solid card, and comes up quite often in today's matches. And then we have the Splitskin Doll. Disgusting. Whenever it enters, draw a card. Then you discard unless you control a creature with power 2 or less. A lot of times we will just be drawing a card with this. Really nice. 2-mana 2/1 value. Is an artifact creature, so go for the throat, cannot remove it. Then we have the kind of card that we're built around, also an artifact creature that go for the throat, cannot cannot remove. And it says whenever the doll attacks, it deals X damage to each opponent. You gain X life, where X is the number of creatures you control with power 2 or less. And this is going to be a lot of creatures. Also, this is 1 power, so it'll fit the Delney tax, which we'll get to. The other card that this works incredibly well with is the Dollmaker shop. Realistically, this card is in here for the left side. We do activate the right side at some point in one of our matches, which is goes absurd, but this is in here to basically, whenever 1 or more non-toy creatures attack a player, make a 1/1 white toy artifact creature token. Very good, very important, works very well with this. And with that said, because the other creatures are kind of value cards on their own, we'll talk about Delney and why this is in here as a card that we've tried to make work in the past. Creatures you control with power 2 or less cannot be blocked by creatures with power 3 or greater. So our low to the ground creatures get in for free. If an ability of a creature you control with power 2 or less triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. So far, this has a triggered ability, this has a triggered ability, this has a triggered ability, or an ETB ability. Like, basically, they all have an ability that happens. This does too, but it doesn't really need to be doubled because you don't really want to double exile it. Like, doesn't do anything. But Delney, doubling all these is incredibly good. So if we have one of these and say it triggers for 5, well, now there's 2 of them, they're getting hit for 10, plus they're probably unblockable on what's attacking if we have 5 creatures. With that said, we have a couple of other here, being Enduring Innocence. This card's very cool. It doesn't necessarily double with this because it only triggers once a turn. The clause kind of reverses it and makes sure it doesn't happen again. But whenever 1 or more creatures you control with power 2 or less enter, draw a card. This ability only triggers once each turn, and if it dies, it comes back to the battlefield as an enchantment. Very, very important. So something like a Brother's Hood End is very good against us. However, we do get this back, and then we can immediately start refilling our hand. If we play a creature, we'll then draw a card and kind of work. It works as our caretaker talent, if you would. Other than that, we have Toby, Beastie, Befriender. That's tough to say very quickly. Whenever it enters, create a 4/4 white beast creature token. This creature can't attack or block alone. A reversed, I said it, Love Struck Beast. kind of the opposite, where a big creature can make a 1/1 early and then can play it later with adventure, but this is not. As long as you control 4 more creature tokens, creatures you control have flying. So this makes a token. A lot of the other things make tokens. This makes tokens. This makes tokens. Pakal herself does. So with that said, we have a lot going on, a lot of new cards. So you're going to see my very first matches with the deck. And maybe we'll be playing this deck in the future again, maybe reapproaching it or something. But you'll see my first few matches with it, and we piloted it all the way to Mythic, so that's very, very cool. We actually hit Mythic with this deck list. We were Diamond 1, and we tried a lot of new cards, and it ended up working out pretty well in our favor. So with that said, let's go ahead and dive into the games. If you all enjoy my content, please consider subscribing. I truly appreciate it. And let's head out there and see how cool the new cards can truly be. First, my hand curves out. So we'll keep. Holy board state. What a weird looking board this is. It's one of those old mats. You ever play on one of those back in the day? We'll play our veteran survivor. I'll pull it up just to double check to make sure we know what we're doing here. At the beginning of your second main phase, if it is tapped, exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard. Apparently I need to check my phone. But as long as there are 3 more cards, exile the veteran, it gets 3/3 and has hexproof. Triumph, they put a Flasia in their yard. So are we going to be fast enough? Oh, okay. Put this guy in. Let's attack. We don't have a doll. So we make a doll. We take out the bitter. If it's, I guess we exile permanents, right? With this deck, because Squirming Emergence cares about permanents. Now, if our survivor lives long enough, they can't really put anything in there, and then they'll need more mana to put anything in there and bring it out at the same time. It'll be a little interesting. Comes Flash. There's Squirming Emergence, so they're going to want to return that back, which makes this an 0/3. Makes it a little more awkward, of course. Say its name, we can exile if we don't want to target a permanent necessarily, which would probably be fine. So they won't have say its name available. But you can search everywhere. Search graveyard, hand, library. Yeah, so you can search pretty much everywhere. Do I want to play Toby and just go for max value, or do I play this? For less, enter, draw cards, ability triggers once each turn, whenever it dies. I think I go for Toby, just so I can make the biggest creature possible and get in there. And because that's an 0/3, we attack. They'll obviously block our 2/1, and then our survivor will be tapped, like we said. Then we can take out the say its name, so we don't have to worry about it twice. It would somehow have to cast it 3 times. Let's get to say its name out. Then we can look to play Innocence, or we can double doll. Temporary lockdown, obviously not looking to be the card to be afraid of here. Sure. Quite a bit of lands in there. Quite a bit of permanents now. One very important one in there. Play land. Let's play the doll. We really want to get this aftermath out of our way. Huh. We'll see. Do another doll here. I mean, we're all in. Kind of have to be. Now, of course, they block my veteran because it's the only one that really makes sense. Interesting. Okay, Squirming Emergence, bring back that, right? If a card you don't control is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, exile instead, during your turn you may play it by paying life, and that has lifelink and it's 9. And its ward is sacrifice. I just don't know. I mean, obviously we have the sacrifice clause down. That's like not what I'm worried about here. Try this. Try this. I wonder what they'll block here. We might actually be able to find lethal here, depending. I just can't attack with Toby. As long as you control 4 or more tokens. I could torch whatever they don't. They're obviously going to block maybe my 4/4. But if that's it, that's okay. This has... When it enters 4/4, this creature, as long as you control 4 or more creature tokens you control have fly. Creature can't attack or block alone. I think I can ship them all here because of the way this torch will work. Sure. So I have 3. I don't quite have enough damage coming across, I guess. Do this. Okay, the red. Sacrifice this. We get that out of the way. Yeah, you'll be nice. Whether we survive long enough. 6. But now this is like in a weird spot where it can't really attack. I mean, I guess it can. But who really knows? Sure. They pay 1 life to do that. Then we can do a little bit of drawing and stuff here. Actually, I think we'll just have lethal regardless if they do nothing because of how much damage I'm about to have on board. Because of this, creatures you control with base power and toughness equal to the number of creatures you control. So I can pump that. That's 4. That's 8. Each of them will be an 8/8. Holy, I wasn't ready for that. Looks like the doors are open. I have so many new cards that I'm looking at that it's kind of hard to keep track of everything right now. But yeah, the creatures you control have base power and toughness equal to the number of creatures you control. So they play that. Right now, they're essentially going to be able to block. Let's just count it as the biggest. 1, 2, and 3. They'll be at... I only need 3 creatures to connect to find lethal, even with them gaining 9, right? Because they go to 14. And if they're all 8/8, then they're going to get hit for 16/32. Sure. Price is called. Don't worry. The tokens deck, apparently, is just excited to activate the door. It's an unlock. It is an unlock situation here. And here is 8 times 8 for 64 damage across the board. 32 of it gets prevented. Another 32 connects. Which is quite a way to win game 1 of the new standard set, that's for sure. What a wild game that was. Very sick. Opponents first. We do have a Helix on 2. So I'll keep. I've seen the content coming out today, man. You gotta be ready with this Helix, you know. Oh, we'll take a little damage here. We're fine. With a green land revealed. No. It's Simic. It's Simic nonsense. Dirt. Play a doll. This is the time to bounce it, but new cards can lead to potential mistakes. Oh, sorry, speaking of mistakes, I punched my microphone right into my face. That was very nice. Full attack. It hits. Now we get to exile a card. We'll get rid of the crab. I don't know why I got rid of crab. It should probably be the seed. Hey, there's another crab. What does this thing do? We can't attack or block unless there are 4 more card types. Beginning upkeep. No card. Okay. There's a big creature to put in away. Hopefully we untap with a land so I can play Delney. And these will become unblockable, which will be very important. is Delney's ability. If a creature you control with power 2 or less triggers an additional time, if you control a creature with power 2 or less, can be blocked with creatures power 3 or greater. We do indeed have a tap land, but I mean we're 100% in there. That's getting helixed. It might have a bounce spell, which is fine. The doll would be the worst one to bounce of the two. You definitely take the one that's going to start exiling everything. Yep. That's fine. Attack for 2. It's not really coming out the gate. Drawing all 3 drops is kind of going to do that sometimes, though. That's the problem. And I think that this is going to be our undoing, really. The doll's good. So here I think it should be... Play the survivor back out. If they play a counter for 2, it'll resolve that way. And they were worried about it last turn. So we jammed the Arabella. We're just going to call this Annabelle, right? Like, it can't really be anything else. Like, that's what they wanted to call it. Just copyright issues might get them, might get them filed in a courthouse. There's another land. They got big boys to flash in like this guy. But yeah, the 3rd Delney drone. So I guess I'll cast it at this point. Okay. Bounce, 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 bounce. I like that they show you these. It is a little annoying. I keep thinking they're like actual spells that they can use. But I get it, you know? Actually, it's probably better if I play this, right? They'll trigger twice, making 2 4/4s. Look at them goofs. I think it has to be a can't. Okay. The old ones used to be like it had to specifically be a 1/1, or you couldn't. Love Struck Beast, I believe, is the kind of opposite of that one, right? Double bouncing those. Sure. Interesting game plan so far. Larian Terror can't block. That's the problem, right? It's like Delney prevents any blocking from happening. Say its name is now available. Sure. We weirdly still get there, right? Right, because none of these could be blocked. So now they're at 5. They have to find the lethal. Those are gone. I don't know what all I'd really need to be worried about. So I guess we just take... that? I have no idea. I don't think it matters too much. I'm just going to pick up 2 creatures. I haven't looked at the set all too much, but I don't think there's like a Simic pick everything like out of my graveyard. And they can see Delney coming in huge, making all my creatures unblockable. Maybe finally we find a perfect deck for her. Where before it was always kind of a gimmick. Like I wouldn't call the bats necessarily a gimmick, but it was never like A tier, right? But here, like the amount of value we're getting and just like staring at a 9/9 and a 5/5 that are completely defenseless against this is kind of funny, but very cool. On to the next one. We'll try this, I guess. It's kind of weird. I'm not like a fan of this hand that much, but I don't think sending it back on the play is necessarily where I want to be, especially considering I have a turn 1 play that I don't mind. We could do this. Then you discard a card if you control a creature with power 2 or less, but it has to be another. But we might just hold up like a burn or removal and then get like the Toby in play. Maybe find another doll and then we can cast them both. But regardless, Restless comes down. Red. Okay. So I think our removal is going to have good value. Ruckus goes up there. So thankfully, we don't even feel necessarily that bad about taking a turn off for this guy. His little... I don't know why I like this art a lot. It's goofy. You want to... This is what it looks like when a gamer walks outside for the first time to touch some grass. Ruckus that thing, please. Ruckus that thing. Yeah. Alright, we'll helix it, I guess. Oh, we almost played the wrong land there. We'll get Toby down. We'll try to take a turn here. Hopefully they have something like another Manifold Mouse. We really wish they had a haster, because that would have maybe forced them to play the Ruckus, but not having that, like, for example, now they do. Now they can give it Menace, but that doesn't really matter. Right? No land hit. Now are you attacking? They are attacking. I will double block. Yeah, they hold back. Okay. Delney, pretty cool. We can play the doll here, see what we get, and just hold up this get lost, which I think is a little more important. Doll. Of course, we gotta play this land. So I just pop this and just go in. They're missing a land right now, so the clue tokens aren't gonna be great. I guess the Ruckus is a problem, right? That's where we don't want to be. I don't really want to double attack. They could block this for free. And just kind of keeping these around makes it like an awkward board. We're kind of adding this toughness to our life total is another way to approach it. As well, we're adding currently 6 more life on top of our 23. We can get the Enduring in, but Trample was kind of a problem. Could be the Leyline deck, but so far it hasn't really seemed that way. Sure. Okay. Might be a commit situation for them. Here. Definitely a commit situation now. You just tell by kind of how there's an attack here. This can give paralysis, which they go for a monster trade. Now the mana is not available. You just get lost it because it leaves this untapped, so they can only put a creature into play. They've already played a land for turn, so now they got nothing going on. Or they draw a Heartfire Hero, one of the two, you know, kind of the same thing if you think about it. Whenever one or more creatures you control with power 2 or less, draw cards, trigger once, but then I can trigger it twice next turn, I guess. At some point, I do kind of have to get aggressive. We don't have a ton more removal. And I think right now, more than anything, would be the time to do it. Just 6. Not really looking to be in range at all next turn. Guess I'll just attack like this. Just thinking bare minimum be like a 3/3 next turn. Cause they can, or even 4/4 because they can activate these maps. My glasses are wanting to fall off. My headset's going everywhere. This is a weird situation for sure. We were able to have like a turn 1 drop like a survivor that could have been chipping in this entire time. That'd be great, but another hero, sure. You really just need to avoid another land drop, which they hit. Are we surprised at all? I don't think so. No attack. A Helix is huge, actually. Play a land. I understand I can maybe draw in a land that would enter tap this turn, but I don't think it's going to change my entire universe all too much here. Delney coming down. Might be a situation where our 4/4 has to kind of sit around. A get lost as well. Wow, I think we have everything covered then, huh? So on 4 cards, 3-ish some mana, and not really going in last turn means I should be fine, I think. I guess I should be in there, right? If they like block, I could look to Helix. But if they block, because it's their hand honestly, blocking makes me think their hand sucks more than anything. But maps can't be used in instant speed. There's a double block here. Okay. A double block in general? No way they don't have anything, right? Well, whatever this goes on to, I just blow it up, and we can just blow this plan out. And I think we're just good, right? Yeah, let's just Helix that one. That kind of just tells us their hand is not that good. And if they get to untap with 3 cards and kill me at 24, then so be it, I suppose. We should have used a Get Lost, I guess, because we could use Helix on face there. A little bit of a mistake by me, but realistically, we're looking to bring up like this land along with my Get Lost and kind of call it a day. Or I can just do it a little bit more safe and just play this. That'll trigger twice. It'll trigger Delney twice. They shocked the 2-1, sure. Best part about this card is it comes back. But it's a good game from here. Nothing really going on, I don't think, that they can do about it. Go straight to combat. I'll attack. Delney will trigger Pakal twice, which is cool. Nice. Honestly, respectable. Good game. A little too many lands hit from them after we said the one land would be bad. That was kind of implying if the rest of their hand was good, but with that many land draws, yeah, they're going to fall a little short there. A little tough, but either way, really funny for them to monster strage my 7/5 or turn it into a 7/5. It's really funny. Oh man, it's a tough one, huh? We'll try. I mean, this is like a, obviously we have a new deck that we're playing, so it's more of like a major stress test situation. A mulligan here. I'm so afraid of the ley line. Or never mind, our deck's nuts. We can't lose, and we'll move on. You know. Oh boy, our mana is a little awkward, but we do have 3 castables in our hand and pretty good top in here, so I'm pretty okay with however this wants to work out. We'll probably play the Pakal first, or should it be Delney if we find the mana? This is one of the situations where I haven't played these two too much that I'm not sure. With this and temporary lockdown being possible, I'm going to play the Pakal first, I think. I guess it just kind of depends if my 1-drop lives or not. Alright, we do hit a land. Survivor down. Also, if they start casting stuff, Delney will let this trigger twice, so it can potentially grow way faster. It gets hexproof? Wild. I wonder what we're against. Sure. Torch it. Torch my own thing. They used to Get Lost immediately. I guess both of these die to everything regardless, so let's just play the Pakal. Pakal gets a lot more value if they're holding like a temp lockdown or something. And if I can activate a map, like for example, say I draw another land, I can potentially activate the map on the Pakal, but it looks like we're losing it. Okay, double Get Lost opener. Sure. Let's play the veteran. Sure. The door's good-ish. I don't want it right now, though. Activate this again. You hit a land. We'll play land. We'll activate again. We'll use these maps as draw effects. And then now Delney can come in. The veteran can attack. Exile both cards in the yard. Will we see a Forge or the Caretaker's Talent? Who knows, really? Or we'll see 3rd removal spell. Sure. This will come in. To Get Lost already been used. And this is a 3 mana thing, so we want to dodge temporary lockdown best we can. And I kind of autopiloted my land into play. So I guess that's a mistake because our land enter untapped. And now we have one that enters tapped. And if we draw another 3-drop, we'll be a little upset. If they try to... Okay, that's fine. So if they try to Sunfall, what we do is we would torch sack our tokens shooting our Toby. So we could do good things. And yeah, there it is. Yeah. Little of the hard part of making sure we're making the right plays at times. Let's play this. I'll attack for 1, 722, I guess. Don't have a whole lot going on here. Sure. Archangel Elspeth, sure. Just a white mana, which means we're pretty well set up here. We need to wait till end step. Should it be here? No. It's like I was thinking about holding to Get Lost for a future temporary lockdown. I just don't think I can. Well, okay, maybe I can. I lied. Play a Delney. Get Lost there. Just a normal torch on this. Get it out of our way so we can start being aggressive here. And again, if there is anything like a Sunfall, I most likely Lightning Helix this just so I can get the flip of it here. We'll see though. Because like I don't really care if they make a 2/2 at the end of the day. Now all my spells currently in play are 3 mana, so another temporary lockdown is not a concern. If they want to play in ether and map tokens, I'd be thankful for that. 1/1/1 exile target null and permanent control. That worked the way I think it does. We're gonna find out. Yeah, it does. Heck yeah, dude. Oh man, that's funny. Very cool. So if you don't know what just happened, by the way, there's this cool thing in Magic. The old cryptic command needed the no text. If you don't know, we attack. We'll put a counter. Our life in total is not gonna matter. Let's put it on our land here. So it used to be an old cryptic command thing where if you picked like bounce a target permanent, draw a card. If you remove its target, if they select the target and that target is no longer valid, then nothing happens. For example, if they would cast Season of the Burrow, and they choose create 5 1/1s, there's no established target now, so it'll resolve because its target doesn't fizzle away. But because of they did make a target and that's no longer valid, it fizzles the spell, because that is a Magic the Gathering rule that is a thing in effect for sure. Am I entirely sure that it should be? No. They put a Helix on top, so we know we're pretty safe to just barrel in here. None of these can be saved from a Helix. So let's make it, as long as it has 3 or more cards exiled, so it doesn't really care. So I just make him want to target Toby, I guess. Or I make him want to target this, and then I get it back, I guess. Alright. We'll exile the flanker because it's the only thing a season can bring back. Either way, it's always kind of fun when you find those little niche things. So they're technically at 9 here. But we can win with the same kind of combat trick that we have. Or are they going to gain the life now? Okay. Sure. Sure. There's a 1/1. I could torch it, obviously, but there's no real reason to do that. Target here for now. Find another land, which is fine. We can do this, and then we can still attack with that. We're looking to find a Lightning Helix. It's pretty much where we're at now. Yes. now they have like almost way too much to deal with. 3. Down the 1. Doesn't really matter, so I guess take the Helix. Now it's a Sunfall, of course. We can get around it. Herbrass Forge, not going to be enough. Good game, and I believe that's Mythic for us. I believe. Yeah. All right, cool. I was like, or we're on a pause screen. I have no idea. But very sick. We play a new deck on a new season, and... or not even a new season. We play a new deck at the end of this season, and it's what pushes us to Mythic, playing against kind of some more solved decks. But very cool. Very cool. Alrighty, so here we are. This deck was sick. I liked it a lot. Is it good? I have no idea, to be honest with you. Now, did we win out? I mean, from game 1 to our last game, we went right into Mythic. We didn't lose a game. Obviously, one of them was conceded before I even, like, we didn't even play. They just conceded. But regardless, I'm not even that opposed on the crafting of this deck, because let me sort it real quick. If you're looking at this deck, I'm going to assume you kind of have already these Boros cards. This is also an uncommon in other variations, so it's not that bad. But I mean, just out the gate, we do have a lot of new cards that are common and uncommons that don't hurt that bad, nor do we play any new land. I don't think the new land fits in red white, but these, if you already, for example, had some of the older cards, are not necessarily that bad overall. Whereas like 4 of the decks is an uncommon, 3 is an uncommon, 4 is an uncommon, and 4 is an uncommon. But there is a little caveat to that, as Delney is a Mythic that you probably haven't played too much, if I had to guess, because there's not been a whole lot of need for this card in Standard currently. Pakal, I would assume you probably have 2 if you're playing Boros decks, because this card was an all-star there for a while, fell off, and then may be back. But this is also a 4 of Mythic. And was I hesitant to craft this? Absolutely. Did it win us game 1? Yes, it did. And most definitely, if we did not have the open side of this, we were not winning that game. And we are running 22 lands, so for the fact that we even found the 6 lands to activate, kind of take that with a grain of salt. My initial thought process on this card, because this card is technically 2 mana, realistically, it's a bit deceiving. I don't even remember where it sits in the normal stack. This card's essentially 2 mana. You're paying to make extra creatures every turn to have the doll trigger twice, or trigger for way more, and with Delney have it trigger twice and do all the nonsense. This is 4 rares. However, I do think in white creature decks, this is probably the better one of that the set has given us. I think this card is very good in terms of drawing. It has lifelink. If it dies, it comes back. So it's like, this is a very good 3 mana value card. Now, will it be the best card of all time? No idea. Will it remain in the deck? Most likely. I think like you're safe if you're wanting to really conserve. Being 3 this on the door shop, maybe 2 of these, and just load up on the Pakals if you don't have them necessarily, and you want to try this deck out right away. And then Toby here. Toby is kind of the splash card if there's a splash card, but it's so good if you can have it come in after a Delney, because it'll make 2 beast creatures, which is very, very nice. So other than that, I mean, it worked out pretty well for us. I mean, we played against some decks that we know are powerhouses, especially against creature decks. As we saw, our opponent in the final match went get lost into a Lightning Helix, and then it had a temporary lockdown to absorb the 4/4, and then was able to remove a couple other things. Just overall, flying a creature every single turn and removing things that were important. And of course, coming up clutch with the kind of Lightning Helix play where we remove our own thing and don't let our opponent get any value. I think we get lost at it, but regardless, you can definitely trim in some areas. Maybe like if you don't want to necessarily craft all these kind of higher end cards, you can obviously maybe put in an extra Lightning Helix, as this is actually an uncommon. I just had the rares before they were legal in Standard. Or if you're running into the new mono red deck, maybe loading up on these torches is needed to have 4 removal spells for the ley line mono red deck. So with that said, I hope you all enjoyed. This was definitely a really fun deck. Kind of surprised we didn't get to really do the doll shenanigans that we wanted to. But with that said, winning without doing the thing that you're intending to do might help establish that your deck has more legs than it previously would have. So with that said, I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.